Morning and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over my gathering method to making gold. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so starting off with today, I want to go over my gathering method when it comes towards like a new expansion or new releases and all that stuff, with like new materials and all that stuff. However, this can be adapted to old world stuff as well, and to be quite honest, this is primarily how I go about actually gathering, and this is how I don't flood the market and reduce the price on certain stuff, and I try and maximize the amount of markets that I'm in when I'm doing my gathering, so when I'm like really into farming. Now, to be quite frank, I really get into farming at the beginning of a new expansion, obviously. All of the new materials out there, and I obviously want all of those different types of materials. So therefore I really do love that type of stuff moving forward. So the way in which I actually go about doing this, now the first thing that has changed is the creation of WoW or WorthIt, and quite frankly this makes my life a hell of a lot easier. And with this, it automatically tells me or gives me an approximation of what a gold farm is worth, so to speak, if it's worth it for you. And quite frankly, I find this to be quite helpful because it just gives me all the relevant information that I need in order to make informed decisions. The actual method in particular is actually choosing a subset of different types of farms in order to do. So say I've got a week ahead of me, so I've got 7 days. So I've got 7 days and I'm going to do an hour a day or 2 hours a day, doesn't really matter. For one of those days I will specifically farm one type of material, so we'll just keep it simple, 1 hour a day of a material. So what I'd actually do is I would look up which farms are worth it for me, and that would be looking at mining right now. I would pick the top 3 because I usually go with the essence of I've got 7 days, I've got an hour each day to do that in, and I want to pick out high selling materials. I give you a decent gold per hour. So what I'll actually do is, if I was looking at Saronite, I would actually go, right, Saronite in Wintergrass, that's the one thing I want to do an hour a day of. So that's 1 day, so that's Monday done. I'm going to do Monday Saronite ore, and I'm going to do dark iron ore on the next day. Now, judging by fell iron ores drop down to 10,000 gold, I would actually double check another area. So we've got Monday and Tuesday covered. For instance, with herbalism, if I wanted to do herbalism, obviously herbalism isn't that great at this moment in time, but for obvious reasons, when SL actually is released, those gold farms will be worth it. So say for instance, we'll just say Grom's Blood is at a decent gold level for that. I would say Grom's Blood would be on Wednesday and Whiptail would be on the Thursday. That leaves me 3 more days to actually pick something from, so then I'll jump down to skinning. Skinning, exotic leather is pretty good at 20,000 gold per hour. Now, for obvious reasons, we don't want to flood the market, so exotic leather is on Friday. So we've got 2 more days. Turtle scales. I don't want to be farming turtle scales. They take a little while to sell, even though they actually say 0.2 of a sell rate. I would actually look at fishing, however, and we can actually see that albino cavefish does quite well as well at 12,000 gold per hour. So on Saturday, I'll do an hour's worth of albino cavefish. And then if another skinning farm actually popped up that was actually quite decent, so like the new SL one, that would go on Sunday. And what I'd do is I'd rotate between those 7 markets in order to make gold. The idea is if I do a material every day and then I rotate through those every single day, I would actually in the long run be able to keep a steady supply of those materials on the auction house, covering 7 different markets that are done by 7 different farms, and I'd have income coming in from all of them at once. Now when it comes towards Shadowlands, what we'll actually be wanting to do is by doing all 4 zones of herbalism and mining. So primarily you would want to do multi-farming, and you would want to do Bastion, Maldraxxus, Ravendreth and also Arden Weald. So those 4 zones are done. So Monday I'm going to be doing herbalism and mining in Bastion. Tuesday, Ravendreth. Wednesday will be Maldraxxus, and obviously Arden Weald would be Thursday. So what else would you actually want to do after that? You've got your mining and herbalism covered with those 4 days. You've got 3 more days left. Right, okay, so what you'd want to do is you would actually want to spend another hour on the Friday doing the desolated leather. So going with that, doing the skinning farm, and you would want to do that skinning farm for SL on the Friday. And then on the Saturday and Sunday, you would want to do fishing farms. So you would go to, I don't know, like Bastion or something, and then you just sit there and fish for an hour on that day. That means that you can keep a supply of everyone. At the beginning of the next NX pack, the markets do get saturated very fast. It's because everyone starts farming everything, and a lot of people actually farm up one specific item, and then they do hours and hours and hours upon that. Now, by breaking that up into multiple different streams, you have a bit more of a chance of competing because you're covering all of those areas on a consistent basis throughout the weeks, and then you can get yourself into a routine. That makes it very easy in order to do. You're doing your farming on those particular days for those particular materials, and then you can always keep a supply of every single material on the auction house pretty much all the time. But because they're fast selling, you may want to pump up your hours of farming in order to keep up with the demand. Now, aside from that, if a very good strong gold per hour actually comes up and they sell super fast, then obviously do more hours of that farming. So if the Maldraxxus mining and herbalism farm is selling within the day, obviously do like 3 days worth and then move on to the next one. Increase your rotation days. So your rotation would be 3 days of that, and then the next one would be Arden Weald. You do mining and herbalism in Arden Weald, and then you would jump onto the next one after another 3 days. It's basically making a rotation of all the materials and keeping a constant flow. And I find this to be quite handy when I use my farms. I can track everything. So when you're actually doing those particular farms in SL, remember, WorthIt is meant there to actually do the recording. You can record 1 hour's worth of your farm or 2 hours, doesn't really matter, it will work it out for you, and it will tell you the gold per hour you would approximately get for that farm again, and you can save that. It means you can refer back to that in SL, and then you'll be able to see, okay, so the fish is dropped in price quite considerably. It's more in my best interest to actually farm up the skinning farm, and then you double down on that. But you would add that into your rotation with your other herbs and mining ores that are actually doing well as well. So it's basically seeing what's selling well on your server, and then making up a rotation around that depending on the different types of herbs, ores and fishing and skins that are actually going about. It's all about being a little bit smart with it by picking the decent gold per hour, but making sure that double checking with your sell rate would really help in the grand scheme of things, as if it's like selling at like 0.5, then obviously you would want to do more hours of that if it's got a strong gold per hour associated with it. So that's how I approach gathering, and it also keeps it a little bit fresh because you're doing something new every single day and it's not the same mundane farm as well. So that's another bonus that goes along with it. Obviously other people just like to farm one particular item and just keep selling that, but I like to cover all of the markets as well as that, but I increase my rotation days when needed to actually suit that. So if something does better, like we could actually just say that Bastion's herbs are selling super fast, they sell for really good gold, obviously I'd increase the rotation day to suit that sell, and then I would move on to the next one after 3 days of farming that, and then I'd move on to the next one, and then I'll just keep doing it. So that's how I like to do it. I like to do it in like a massive rotation of materials, so it keeps things fresh. I don't really hit a burnout when I do that because I'm always constantly doing something new, and I also am covering a wide variety of different markets with strong gold per hour, so I'm obviously making a lot of gold in the meantime with that. So that's how I approach my gathering method, and it's basically a rotational method. aside from all of that, guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, because a lot of people were asking me what would be beneficial to actually farm up in SL, and quite frankly, I don't know just yet, because none of us know just yet, because it's just depending on when these farms actually come about. So it's making you guys aware on my practice on trying to farm this all up, because I'll be farming up everything, and when I mean everything, I will be farming up everything, and I'll be doing those worth it imports, and I'll be putting them into those required videos. So if you don't want to do that and you wanted to wait and just level up your alts in the meantime, I can go get those imports, then you can import them and then see which ones are good for you, and then focus on those as well. So that's my plan and my gathering rotational method in order to actually make gold within Shadowlands, and for obvious reasons I can't wait, because it's all new content. Other than that, guys, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. If you want to support the channel and help make the channel even better, then why not check out the Patreon? Members get additional info, gold making resources, and Patreon specific content. The link is located in the description down below. Thank you and have an awesome day.